And Then There Were None is a crime novel by Agatha Christie published in 1939. Agatha Christie was born on September the 15th of 1891 in Torquay, daughter of Fred Miller and Clara Boehmer. His father died when she was 11, leaving his wife and children bankrupt, and unable to attend any school, she was instructed by her mother, grandmother, and housekeepers. She meets Archibald Christie, colonel of the Royal Flying Corps, with whom she gets engaged. During the World War I, she worked as a nurse in a hospital, where she had the idea of writing a crime story about a woman who died of poisoning. The novel was The Mysterious Affair at Styles, and with it she inaugurated a writing career. Her stories are characterized by very surprising plots and by the creation of two original detectives, Hercule Poirot and Miss Marple. She got married on December the 21st of 1914 with Archibald Christie, but divorced on 1928 when he left her for his secretary. 2 years later, during a trip to the Middle East, she met the prestigious English archaeologist Max Mallowan. They got married in that year, and since then she went with her husband for his annual visits to Iraq and Syria. She uses these journeys as material for Murder in Mesopotamia, Death on the Nile, and above all, Murder on the Orient Express. She died in Winterbrook on January the 12th of 1976. The original title of the work I chose to analyze was 10 Little Niggerts, which was later changed to And Then There Were None, as it was considered offensive by the black community. In the book, 10 people who don't know each other are invited to stay for a short vacation on Nigger Island, an island off the coast of Devon. On their arrival, they don't meet Ehrlich Norman Owen, the one who invited them, but the butler and his wife. Also waiting for them are 10 statuettes representing natives and a nursery rhyme hanging in the guest bedrooms. During the first dinner, a voice recorded through a gramophone accuses all those present, including the servants, of being murders that justice could not punish. Stuck on the island, the guests begin to die in the ways indicated by the rhyme. And then there were none. The film chosen for my comparison is Mindhunters, a 2004 film directed by Rennie Harlin that takes inspiration from the novel. In this film, the characters are represented by young FBI agents sent to a completely uninhabited US Navy island to support the final exercise of their training to become profilers. Their job is to track down the serial killer known as the Puppeteer, but after the non-accidental death of one of them, they understand that it's no longer a drill and the murderer is among the same team members. The main difference between novel and film lies in the ending. The final that Agatha Christie uses in the theatrical version, in which two characters are saved because they're innocent, is adopted. In the movie, two of the protagonists are also saved after killing the real murderer. Another difference is the way in which the characters die, because in the film the murder's modus operandi consists in killing according to the hour indicated by the numerous broken clocks on the island. The setting instead is the same: a deserted island, in one case unatable due to a storm, in the other place of an exercise. The most notable difference, however, is in the absence of a moral motivation that animates the action of the cinematographic killer, who kills only because he considers profilers to be worthy prey, while in the novel, the murderer acts for a sense of justice even though it may be not shareable. The most obvious theme is guilt, as it manifests itself internally and externally, and how guilt can be addressed and explored. Several of the characters, including MacArthur, Clayton, Armstrong, and even Brent, suffer from a deep sense of guilt. Of course, other characters, including Marston, Lombard, and Wargrave, don't seem to harbor any sense of guilt. By creating a story in which every character has committed a crime, Christie explores different human responses to the burden of a guilty conscience. Beginning with the first moment after the recorded voice reveals the guest's crime, each character takes a different approach to dealing with his or her guilt. The characters who publicly deny their crimes are tormented by guilt in private. General MacArthur, for instance, brusquely dismisses the claim that he killed his wife lover. By the following day, however, guilt so overwhelms him that he resignedly waits to die. Dr. Armstrong is equally dismissive of the charges against him, but he soon starts dreaming about the woman who died on his operating table. Concealment is another main theme of the novel. Each guest to Nigger Island has been able to conceal his or her involvement in the death of another human being with methods that vary from guest to guest. For example, Armstrong and Bloor rely on the respect afforded to them as professionals. Wargrave uses his position of power and authority as a judge. Marston and MacArthur rely on the fact that the deaths related to them were, by definition of the law, accidental. Thomas and Heather Rogers and Miss Brent hide behind the cloak of inaction. Lombard relies on the fact that he is operating in an uncivilized environment, and Clayton uses the impulsive and irrational nature of youth as well as love. But concealment operates on other levels too. Initially, the guests hide specific details about their lives from one another. The island is also a geographical manifestation of the concealment. It is, in effect, cut off from the mainland, and the storm further conceals the events happening on Nigger Island from the rest of the world. Because the murderer has discovered the truth about each individual, the novel suggests that no matter what method of deceit is employed, the truth can never be fully concealed. Justice is another of the novel's major themes. Wargrave's letter of confessions indicates that he long had a fascination with both death and justice, and that he performed the murders as a way of providing justice for the crime the law could not touch. The entire novel calls into question the issue of justice. Are the murders true justice, some sort of retribution, or simply the acts of a sick mind? Most crime novels examine justice, its violation through the act of murder, and its restoration through the work of a detective who solves the crime and ensures that the murderer pays for his or her deed. And then there were none changes the formula by making the victims of murder people who committed murder themselves. Therefore, the killings of Nigger Island can be considered acts of justice, where Judge Wargrave does the work of detective and murderer, by picking out those who are guilty and punishing them. Whether we accept the justice of the events on Nigger Island depends on both whether we accept Wargrave's belief that all the murder victims deserve their deaths, and whether we accept that Wargrave has the moral authority to pronounce and carry out the sentences. And Then There Were None is the world best-selling crime novel, ranked 11th on the bestseller list with the most proceeds in history. It presents a variant of the locked room theme, which generally consists of an investigation that takes place around a crime committed in an apparently impossible circumstances, such an occurrence in a room closed from the inside. In this novel, the novelty consists in the fact that there is no detective, as in the most crime stories. Being a lover of crime genre, I chose this book because it's different from the usual crime novel. It is clear that the murderer is one of the island's guests. I cannot be able to guess his identity, the reasons why he acts, and what are the ties among the characters makes you hold your breath up until the end, tempting you to arrive immediately at the epilogue. I personally prefer the ending used in the theatrical version because the circumstance that one or more characters manage to escape the murders brings me back to the reassuring idea of the application of justice generally guaranteed by the presence of a detective.